Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the banners and discussing which one you should summon on, because it's been 2 years I think since we last got double Legends Limited units on separate banners, and yeah, it's pretty big. Both are, I would say, excellent, both are super hype, both look fantastic, and I think both banners are probably pretty decent. I think they're both in categories that also get frequently buffed, so I do think that they're pretty even, but we'll discuss them anyway because why not? Now, Beast Gohan looks like the unit that has the highest potential right now, whereas the tag units look like, they can really build up a hit of steam and be pretty unstoppable once they get going. When they aren't going, they can't be too great, but yeah, they can definitely get, like this big combo mechanic kind of really starting to move. So with the Red Ultimate Gohan is a entire banner kind of dedicated to Saga from the movies predominantly, but also featuring some hybrid Saiyans units. I would say overall the banner looks, interesting. On the other banner, we have predominantly Universal Survival Saga / Universal Rep. Probably the big interesting one here being, of course, the Android 17, who I think is a very kind of big unit. He's pretty game. He's pretty like, alright, cool, this guy's definitely a hype unit. He's a very good one. He's excellent. So yeah. Now, talking about Gohan and obviously, him as a unit, I think for me, he's pretty top notch. I think Gohan ultimately at the end of the day is a unit that's incredibly good. He has quite a lot going on that I think enables him to be functionally quite decent. Now, even though he starts out in his base form is actually a bit more defensive orientated than his transform state into Beast. So Gohan, when he's in his base form, kind of acts more as a disrupting unit, and the goal as Gohan essentially is to get your unique gauge kind of built up, and when you have that unique gauge kind of maxed, then pushing to transform. And when you transform with a full unique gauge, you essentially can really just knock out one of the opponent's characters, because you reduce their vanishing gauge to 0, you restore your vanishing gauge, you nullify special cover change, and you basically just have the ability to completely lock them down and throw yourself at them, because Gohan, when he transforms or in his base form, has blast armor on strike attacks. So this whole mechanic of his unique gauge is really solid. Of course, if it's not full, you still get some pretty decent buffs when you transform. So there's, if you're in an emergency situation, of course you can do it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think Red Gohan, for me at least, looks very good. I mean, Beast Gohan, the original Blue Legends Limited Beast Gohan, I think has aged excellently. He was at the top of the meta for a very, very long time, and I can see this Red Gohan being maybe not as good, but very, very similar. I think this transformed Red Gohan will be an incredibly solid pickup, and he'll do a ton of damage to a lot of the opposition. The big thing about him is vanishing gauge control. He has so many ways to restore his vanishing gauge and also reduce the opposition's vanishing gauge that it really allows him to control the tide of the battle, which I think ultimately at the end of the day is very important. He also has the ability to deny Rising Rush, which is again also a very crucial mechanic, as we all know when it comes to these kind of PvP battles. It's incredibly important to kind of control the Rising Rush in PvP. It's not something that you kind of want the opposition to control. So anytime you have a character that can kind of deny it or prevent it, or choose when it can occur, is very, very strong. And yeah, overall I would say he's just really, really solid. The rest of his banner looks pretty decent. This new Gotenks is a very solid unit as well. Kind of also constructed to realistically deny the opposition a lot. A lot of destroying cards on cover change, a lot of destroying moves on cover change, sealing moves, reducing Dragon Balls. So a very good unit at disrupting the opposition as well, which allows you to, again, kind of build up time for, like Gohan to build up his, his unique gauge and really just build up his ability to then transform. But yeah, this Piccolo, even with his unique equip, probably not insane. Beast Gohan, like I said, has aged a little bit, but still pretty good. This Cooler, not too great. I think he's okay. Trunks, probably not really in the meta right now, although a nice green option to counter the blues that come across your way. Same with this SS3 Goku. And then of course we have Trunks, who's a pretty good finisher. I would say overall, assessing this banner, really a lot of the value is in grabbing Gohan. I think Gohan and Gotenks' value is pretty high. So I think a lot of the value is derived from managing to pull them more than anything else. Now I think when you look at the Vegeta and Goku, I think then we're looking at something a little bit different. So these guys are functionally quite different from Gohan. How these guys work is essentially they work on the premise of wanting to continually refresh their unique gauge. Every time they continue to build up their unique gauge, it actually refills faster, allowing them to kind of constantly proc this big burst kind of period, more and more consistently as the fight goes on. Their green cards kind of work in a similar way, stacking buffs the more and more times you use them, and essentially the longer they stay out there, the more devastating they become, realistically speaking, is kind of what they are. Of course, when you look at them as units, there are a couple things. They can still be a little bit fragile. I think that's something that's always a little bit kind of like suspect, I guess, with tag units. It always feels like they can kind of get picked up at some point and just kind of used as a, like, how can I say, they can just get kind of used or abused a little bit too much. I think that, realistically speaking, is something that can be, a cause for concern. With that being said, they are still a very solid, pairing, and I think when they get going, they can definitely look at their peak like the most single-handedly devastating unit in the game. I think they are a very nice skill gap unit, whereby if you can get them going and be very solid, I think for me, you can then obviously feel like they are, a very strong functional unit. So they definitely have a really, really good kind of presence on the battlefield, and they still do a lot. Big damage. They do have ability to restore the vanishing gauge. They do still have Dragon Ball control. So very, very strong unit in general. But the big premise is renewing that unique gauge and really kind of building on that sense. Unique gauge, continuously playing green cards, continuously stacking buff effects, and really just kind of pushing them as a unit to be really this big combo unit. Build, tag switch, build, tag switch, build. Unique gauge keeps stacking faster, the rate keeps stacking for the first and the second time that you use it, and essentially just becoming a kind of unstoppable force of will, I think is, it is something very important when you look at them as a unit. Now, like I said, they do still have the ability to be semi-fragile. I think it is definitely something you have to just be considerate of. I have seen them take a lot of damage myself in PvP. You can work around it, but you just need to be very careful with how you play it. Golden Frieza does seem a little bit better than Gotenks to me. I think he works quite well synergistically, and he has paralysis, which is a very strong component of PvP. And together, I think he makes a really nice foil for this Vegeta and Goku. He does a really good job, much like Gotenks, still disrupting the opposition, but I just think Frieza brings a lot more to the table that's more proactive than reactive. And if you're a skilled player, you generally play proactively more than reactively. It's just generally how it is in terms of comboing, maintaining pressure, etc. So I do feel like Golden Frieza is a very solid option, is a very good option, and I think he does provide a lot of field presence that can disrupt the opposition a lot. So very, very nice looking unit. And yeah, I think he provides a lot of good utility to cover the weaknesses of Goku and Vegeta and just kind of stall for time, enabling them to build that unique gauge a lot as well. I think that's really where Frieza kind of picks his moments to shine and can be really, really good. Now, of course, outside of Frieza and Goku and Vegeta, there are other units on here, like the blue Goku and Vegeta. Even with their plat, much like Piccolo, a bit so-so. Not bad, but not anything else. Android 17's the big swing vote for me. Him and Goku and Vegeta are basically enough to run a competitive PvP team because of how good Android 17 still is and how synergistically well he does with a lot of the team. UI Goku, although having dropped off a little bit, is still a very nice kind of counter tempo control unit, and Jiren obviously just got his Zenkai. I actually think the banner, even though it has this random giant ape Vegeta thrown on it, I actually think this banner is a tiny bit stronger, if not just because of Android 17. I think the Goku and Vegeta are really good, but I think the Android 17 accompanying them on the banner really pushes this banner. If you get Golden Frieza, Android 17 and Goku and Vegeta, you can basically run a super competitive team. I will probably summon on Gohan mainly because I'm just more of a fan of them, but if you had to choose one, I'd probably choose the Universe 7. I just feel like it runs a little bit better and provides you a bit more. But yeah, that's basically going to be it from me. Like I said, both categories are really good. Saga from the movies and Universal Survival Saga both get buffs all the time. So it's not like either team is going to be left in the lurch for long. You will get buffs quite regularly to keep your units relevant, so you shouldn't really worry too much. I think ultimately Saga from the movies is maybe a bit more popular, but yeah, that is basically going to be it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think, which banner to summon on. And yeah, that's basically going to be it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a like, it's greatly appreciated, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So until then, as always, take care and bye.